Folks, how's it going? Jay here, and today's the last day of our Greece and Athens trip, and it's been a great trip. We've been here for 8 days now, and I thought that it'd be nice to share some thoughts and experiences that we had, and give back a little bit based on all the videos that we've seen that inspired us to travel and gave us some great tips along the way. Special shout out to Walter's World, Mark Walters. He's been a big inspiration in doing these things. So kind of want to share some of the basic tips. So I got some notes here, right? So I'm gonna kind of cheat here a little bit. And first off, on top of Mount Filopappos, I want to say, and the acropolis is in the back. So first thing, should you come to Greece? Absolutely, it's beautiful. The history is unmatched. Some of the biggest attractions, number one, the big boy right behind us, Acropolis. You just can't beat it. It's absolutely majestic. So if you're thinking about coming, I hope these tips help you and inspire you. So again, main things is the main reason to come to Greece is the history. Acropolis being the main highlight for us. Delphi was another one. Delphi is absolutely beautiful. It's totally worth the long bus ride that takes you out there. It's about 3-hour bus ride, and you're there for maybe about 2.5 hours. But again, totally worth it. The other thing in things to see is the museums, amazing museums. The Acropolis Museum, the National Archaeological Museum. I mean, things that it's unparalleled. I mean, the closest thing to it may be the British Museum in London with some of the artifacts they have, but it's definitely a must if you want to come see history and all these artifacts. The Banaki was another one. Kind of like not so much on the top radar for museums, but we loved it. And pro tip, if you come on Thursdays, it's absolutely free, so check that out. A couple other things, like highlights of the trip. The food is awesome. We've tried a wide assortment of things, nothing that kind of grosses us out, or icky out a little bit. Food's been great. Even my 5-year-old kid has been eating like a storm, so that tells you a lot. Not so picky. He's been loving it. Everything's very tasty and well seasoned, so please come out here and try the food. The beer, Mythos, I think is what you call it. Mythos, man, it's great beer. Try some of the beers out, local beers, and there's another one like an A with the little weird lines in the bottle. I think it's called Alpha. That one's pretty good too. It's sort of like more like a Budweiser type of a beer, but it's pretty good. Mythos is more like a Michelob, if you remember that, okay, or a Heineken or something like that. So another thing, food-wise, bread is awesome. So try bread. If you can get it fresh, even better. And overall, the food is fairly cheap. So indulge yourself. Even though you're on vacation, you might be trying to penny pinch just a little bit. But kind of pro tip, if you're going to be coming out here, I would highly suggest staying in an Airbnb. That way you can save some money there, make some breakfast for yourself at home, buy some stuff in the market, some bread, things like that. And then try to have one good meal out per day if you can, at the least. If you can more, hey, why not? Gelato's here very good. Is very good here as well. So if you have kids, that's a good way to kind of keep them quiet for maybe a few minutes. So try that out. Another highlights of Greece is in the people. People are very friendly, very welcoming, very proud of their country, their city, their history. So don't get turned off if it may seem like they're a little rough around the edges sometimes. They tend to, you go to a restaurant, you say, hey, do you have a kids menu? Yes. Well, what you want? What do you want? Hey, what do you want? You want this? Okay, no problem. They're kind of abrasive. It may come off as abrasive, but I think that the heart is in the right place. And even though they're a little rough sometimes, it's always with a smile. Being a New Yorker, it doesn't kind of turn me off too much, but for some people it might. But just kind of remember that that's part of their culture. Now, the bads of Greece. One, I have to say the big thing is that the economic status of the country is pretty depressed. They went through a major financial crisis about a decade ago, and it seems like they've really had a hard time to recover. So the overall condition of the city is bad. It's pretty bleak. I would even go as far as saying that this is not a first world country, it's a second world country. Some areas look like pictures I've seen of Syria, Beirut. And I'm not exaggerating. It's pretty bad, pretty dirty. The streets are been neglected. So that's something to think about. Again, you can't blame that on the people here too much. It's a lack of funding, but it's a shame. A lot of graffiti, especially in certain parts of the city. It's just pretty bad. Even in the area where we stay, which is called Kolonaki, which is more of a trendy, hip area. You see a lot of shops, like, cool, like hipsters kind of shops, like H&M and things like that, like really boutiques. Really cool places, nice restaurants and stuff, but the streets themselves are pretty banged up. So something to think about. Another thing, the streets are very narrow, so that's another thing that's kind of a challenge getting around. Sorry, a bug was on me there. Another big bad. This one kind of stood out for me, which I won't go too deep on, but toilets here, bathrooms. You cannot flush the toilet paper. Kind of gross. All right, I won't go too far on that, but just be prepared. So if you do plan on coming out here, something to think about or know of beforehand so you're not caught off guard. I'd also suggest bringing your own toilet paper. Everywhere you go, the toilet paper is pretty harsh. So again, I don't want to get too yucky or too, whatever, but TP. Okay, again, political instability of the country. It seems that way. I don't really know. We try to not tune in too much of what's going on or find out too much of what's going on. But it seems like there's social unrest here. The Syntagma Square, which is, or plaza, whatever you want to call it, while we were here was vandalized with red paint thrown on it, which is like throwing essentially like in the White House or the Congress or something like that. So that was a big put off. The following day, there was a massive Communist Party demonstration right across the street in Syntagma Square. So I don't know what's going on with that, but something to be aware of. It's a bit of a distraction, especially in the main tourist area where everybody's at. So some kind of tips. Hey, first one, come. All that aside, we still had an amazing time. The people are really nice. Another tip is stay in an Airbnb. I would say try to get more in the neighborhood, save some money, even money-wise. For the money that we spent on our place, which is about, say, around $150 a night, we could have got a little small hotel room. Instead, we got a 2-bedroom luxury apartment, 2 bathrooms, pretty nice kitchen, Netflix, the whole deal, wraparound terrace. It's hard to beat that. And plus, we were in that Kolonaki area, which is, even at a 5-year-old kid's walking pace, 10 minutes from where everything's happening in the Plaka and Syntagma Square and all that stuff. Another thing is, when you stay in one of these apartments too, the majority of them have a terrace view of the city. There's a city ordinance that nothing can be built higher than the acropolis, and the majority of apartments have terraces. So it's a nice little plus. So if you want at the end of the day, drink a beer, have a glass of wine on the terrace, pretty cool. Traveling with kids, this is a big thing. So we did a lot of this on, looked a lot of this up before we came out here. And the big thing was, can you come with a stroller? Yes, you can come with a stroller. So anybody's watching this, yes, you can come with a stroller. Don't let that turn you off. But tip, come with a small stroller. I highly suggest the GB Pocket, which folds up very small. I put one in my backpack, very easy to walk around with. I mean, it does have some weight. We got the Plus version, which is about, I want to say 12 pounds, but it's a lot better than carrying my 5-year-old around after he's super tired at the end of the day, and he's about 52 pounds. So I'd suggest doing that, or yo-yo, I think the other one's called YOLO, that they're called. I suggest getting one of those and coming out with something like that. So it's not easy, but it can be done. So I'd recommend getting one of those small strollers, even if you don't have it. I mean, we didn't have one. We just went out, and as like kind of like a part of our you know, trip expenses, bought one. We're probably gonna put it on Craigslist or something like that after we get back, and you know, try to recoup maybe half the money. Another tip for kids: bring snacks from home. All the things out here, they have plenty of snacks, but the kids don't know what they are, so they can kind of turned off on it. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that thing with the weird letters on it. So bring some snacks from home, pack them in your bag, in your suitcase. When you get here, you'll eat them, or at least you know, you'll kind of nibble on them along the way, and you won't carry the weight back when you go home. So do that. The other tip, pro tip, is do some day trips. Get out of the city for a while. We went to a boat day trip. We went to hydra, poros, and aegina. Absolutely beautiful, great trip, especially for the kid. He loved being on the boat, just being out on the sea and seeing everything. And we got lucky. We actually got pretty close to. We were very close to seeing some dolphins. Dolphins were like maybe 20 feet away from us on the boat, so that was a nice little extra. Hydra is really amazingly beautiful. Poros is nice, but it's not much to do there. Aegina, same, but it's still very picturesque. So I suggest doing that. Get out of the city. Also Delphi. Delphi was really nice. We had an amazing time there. The place when you go there is just epic. You're up in the hills and the mountains, and the scenery is just breathtaking. A long trip, but totally worth going there. What other things? Okay, kind of little odds and ends, like shopping. Plaka is definitely where you want to go shopping. The antique market on Saturday, if you can, I suggest going there. There's a lot of like trinkets and things like that. I got a good deal on kind of this artifact looking thing. And negotiate. You know, if they tell you €4, say, I don't know if it's gonna fit in my bag. You give me price. You say, 20 euros. 25 euros. I don't know. All right, 25, you wrap it up for me in bubble wrap. Sure, okay, no problem. I probably would pay $200 for the thing I got here if I would have bought it off eBay or something, antique shop back home. So do that. I highly suggest that. But in general terms, negotiate with everything, okay? Another kind of bad little tip thing or heads up is that they smoke like chimneys everywhere. So just be a heads up on that. Be aware of that. All right, folks, but this is gonna kind of wrap up my little video here. I hope that these tips help, and I hope this encourages you to consider coming out to Greece. So sign off. Peace from Greece.